Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Slamhub Wrestling. Myself Suprit, and this is the Friday Night SmackDown review for May 22, 2020. If this is your first time on the channel, then make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell for all notifications. We here in Slamhub Wrestling cover all pro wrestling related stuff, including reviews for Raw, SmackDown, NXT, AEW Dynamite, and New Japan as well. We also have a flagship podcast called the Slam Up Wrestling Podcast, so make sure to check that out. So I'm joined by Abhishekh Aneja, aka Abby Maniac. What's up, Abby?
I'm fine, Suprit. How about you?
Doing good for now, but it has been a shitty week as a pro wrestling fan.
Yeah, it is indeed. It is. With regards to the passing away of Shad Gaspard, and even today,
So news came out that Stardom wrestler Hana Kimura passed away at age 22.
yes, it is sad. It was because of, I guess, cyber bullying was the main uh,
Yeah,
cause, which is the causation as per reports and as per uh, her last tweets, I guess,
yes,
which is being speculated about.
yeah,
Mm-hmm,
that's the story.
mm-hmm. It is cyberbullying, and it also with regards to the, uh, I guess, being a celebrity or a public figure. It also is a very difficult uh, to in this age of social media, and also she was only 22 years old, so it is very difficult to deal with such nonsense on social media. What can we, Shad Gaspard, uh, the only last thing they said that he saved his son. That was the biggest message that uh, came out of whatever happened. That he was a great father, and as what I have read, based on the people that he knew and who knew him, that he was a great person, and in even the last moments, he saved his son. He saved his son. It is a sad thing that people lost their lives. Shad lost his life. What can I say? Really, there isn't really a thing that you can say regarding such things with regards to people passing away. The only solace you can say that uh, may their souls rest in peace. They are in a better place, and their legacy and their character will be celebrated here. And moreover, I should say that the people who knew them would have, and the people who didn't give two shits before, they should have given more, and they should have thought about them more. And that's uh, I do not want to say more with regards to such things. That's it. Nothing.
We can just send our condolences to their family and friends, and that's it.
Yes, yes, absolutely. They are the main people who are affected,
Yes.
not the people. most people on social media who didn't give two flying Fs before. Most, I'm saying most, not all. There were many, and I am taking into account both the people, not even singling out. I saw many people, and it happens. It happens on social media, and it is good that you are giving condolences to the family and you are celebrating their legacy. It is good. But when they were, their physical bodies were here, you would have celebrated them and given two and more Fs more then also. That's what I'm saying. It 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 goes off as being very superficial, you know.
Yeah, yeah. So let's talk SmackDown.
Yes.
What did you think about the show?
Just like this week on Monday Night Raw, it was a first time for me in weeks or months, that I have watched the full show of SmackDown. It was live, and I saw that there weren't many, I guess, stories being being the center stage. Moreover, it was the wrestling being the center stage, as Fox, when it took SmackDown under its umbrella, they said that it would moreover be a sports oriented show, and it would have more wrestling, and it was a good show in my opinion overall. And I was also thinking what I have seen on social media with regards to the hacker, what is happening with regards to the hacker, and the other storylines with Otis and Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. Sonya Deville is cutting very good promos. I have read and on social media, and uh, Sonya has improved a lot with regards to her character. And moreover, Bray Wyatt and the Fiend is very well. It is all over social media that he is one of the best characters. So he needs to be protected and he needs to be exposed only when it's needed. And you know, and other things. So I was having an open mind, and I was very interested to see that what will happen on this show. And what was your opinion regarding the show?
Normally, watching SmackDown every week is like watching a horror movie. But but for this episode, I actually kind of enjoyed this week's episode. Like you said, there were some good parts. That's all I can say.
Mhm. Let's go
So
segment by segment.
yeah, so show opens up with the dirt sheet starring John Morrison and the Miz. Miz and Morrison started bashing both Otis and Braun Strowman. Many Braun Strowman. So Miz and Morrison had their own puppets, and it was typical WWE toilet humor. Braun Strowman, Braun Strowman comes out. He says they are kind of funny, and their show is not half as bad. Braun tells them to ask him some questions. Miz and Morrison reply that you are not booked for the show. Braun orders them to ask him about Bray Wyatt and puppets. Miz then warns Braun about Wyatt and gave his personal experience as a example. Morrison jumped. Morrison jumped in and continued bashing Braun, saying he isn't half the man that Miz is. Braun took this as a challenge, and we got Miz versus Braun Strowman. This went 3 minutes. Half the time, Miz tried to run away from Braun until he got some offense with a little help from Morrison. Finally, Braun hit the running power slam to get the win, and that's all, folks.
Hmm. So basically, in this segment, we got to know that uh, Miz and John Morrison or Johnny Mundo are basically targeting two people. First is Mr. Money in the Bank Otis and Braun Strowman, the Universal Champion. So, first of all, they also questioned that why Otis teamed up with Braun Strowman, and is Braun Strowman stupid that he teamed up with Otis, because Otis is the one who is basically a threat that he will someday cash in his money in the bank on him. So basically, first they are trying to get a rift between Braun Strowman and Otis, that there is some story for the future. And then they also brought up the point of Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman, that Bray Wyatt has changed Miz, and he has brought out a very vicious side of him, and he brought him to a place that he was never familiar with. And there was John Morrison, who debuted and he kind of saved him. He was a savior, or else Miz would not have been in a good place that he is. So Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman would also be happening in the near future, and Bray Wyatt would most obviously would be in the persona of the Fiend. And as you just run down all the stuff that Braun Strowman and Miz got in a match and they won, and basically in the end, Morrison challenged Braun Strowman for a handicap match for the pay-per-view Backlash, in a handicap match for the Universal Championship, 2 versus 1. That they, Miz and Morrison, would be co-Universal Champions. Uh, let's see what happens. And with regards to the segment, with regards to the starting, basically, they were funny in my opinion. But yes, the fact is that whatever they did with the puppets and all, yes, it is childish. It is being catered to the children and the casual audience. So it, you know, it can humor you. It cannot humor some people. That's it.
So I get it that this is just a mini feud before Braun Strowman gets to the Fiend, but Jesus Christ, couldn't they come up with something creative? Do
Yes,
we really need a handicap match for the Universal Championship against Miz and Morrison?
Miz and Morrison recently have lost the championship, in my opinion, the tag team championship.
Yes.
So basically, they are uh, a credible duo, or a credible, you can say, entity on SmackDown. So they just pushed them in a feud because, first of all, they are heels, and second of all, they are irritating. So basically, to establish Braun Strowman as a legit champion, or a legit quote unquote good guy or baby face, so they just pushed them in a 2-on-1, because basically in a 1-on-1 situation, Braun Strowman would easily steamroll anyone. So now it is being portrayed that, oh, maybe that two people would, the former tag team champions can beat the current universal champion. But yes, we all know that it is not happening. So there's that.
Honestly, Miz and Morrison are not a threat, as you mentioned. Like, if you see their
But they're
booking for the
trying to, you know, I agree with your point,
yeah,
but
that basic.
they're trying to build them up basically, not a threat, but to establish Braun Strowman as a baby face, as a legit monster baby face. So he needs to vanquish some bad guys. So they are picking the best out of the bunch. That in the eyes of the fans, that when will people care, that who people hate the most, who will draw out the heat basically. So, and who were on TV, that people would care, they were the tag team champions, so people knew them, people were caring somewhat also, or somewhat. So they just push them. And Miz and Morrison, yes, they are cashing in huge checks, and they would be open to working in the environment that we are in right now. So they just pushed them in a handicap feud against the top dog of their brand, Braun Strowman.
But still, it will not. At the end of the day, it will not matter because I don't see some beating someone like Miz and Morrison in their current state will elevate a certain champion. In this case, Braun Strowman. So that's my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So from that, we get to the Intercontinental Championship match tournament. So we had Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles. But before that, I wanted to get your thoughts on WWE stripping Sami Zayn from the Intercontinental Championship. Do you think it's a work or it is just them punishing Sami Zayn for not showing up for work?
Um, Punishing, I don't know. Basically, you need you need TV programming. You know, you need TV programmings. It is not a work, in my opinion. It is not a work. If it were a work, they would have acknowledged it on TV regarding Sami Zayn and his tweets. Also, they didn't at all. They only said that he has been stripped of the title. That's it. So I don't think it is a work. And with regards to punishing him, basically it is that um, both the companies, in my opinion, AEW and WWE, gave an option. Uh, there was a report on, I guess, Wrestling Observer newsletter, that both the companies gave an option, obviously, to their wrestlers, that they have an option to work or either not work. Uh, Wrestling, basically wrestling. You can come here and not wrestle also. You have that option. So in AEW's case, Tony Khan, he gave an assurance to his wrestlers that even if you do not come to work, either to wrestle or cut promos, your spots will not be affected. Case in point, Nyla Rose and Hangman Adam Page. They were not on AEW television for 1 month, and their spots were not taken. Their belts were not stripped or taken away. And now, with the case of WWE, wrestlers were given an option, but WWE is not giving in with regards to the Intercontinental Champion not coming at all. Because Sami Zayn said that I will not even come for promos also. WWE is being very strict and whatever. So yes, Sami Zayn is in a tough spot, and Sami Zayn has been a quote unquote rebel and very uh, opinionated with regards to his beliefs. He was also working, he is currently also working with Sammy for Syria, Sammy with Syria.com. And he has an opinion. He works as an activist. So if he wants to not work and not come for work, so it is his opinion, and WWE thought that we need TV programming, we need an intercontinental champion to work singles matches or storylines on TV. So we need to strip off the championship. So they kind of did, because there weren't other champions. There were tag team champions, and you cannot have universal champion like Braun Strowman challenging people every other week, because it loses the legitimacy of the championship and also the legitimacy of Braun Strowman. So they were in a tough spot, and they did what kind of did. It is, in my opinion, a little unfair, but it is what it is. Now they are having such a programming that they are having such a beautiful tournament. We are having matches like Daniel Bryan uh, competing, and we have AJ Styles, Nakamura, we have Jeff Hardy, Sheamus. It is good programming, and it is such quote unquote good shit, and people would be watching. SmackDown is having higher ratings now, and Raw is going low and low and low. So there's that.
Another point you mentioned, Sammy works for Syria. So he supports the Syrian people. So that doesn't go well with the WWE because they are in
No.
bed with Saudi Arabia. So
Yes. Yes.
makes sense.
Yes. I agree. He has been a rebel. He is an opinionated person, and many people, maybe in WWE, do not like or are very much fond of him, because he is opinionated, he is intelligent, and he has his own, you know, power with words. And if you have power with words and if you are opinionated, many people hate you or do not like you. But the fact is, if you have an opinion, if you have such power, you can do stuff, and you can pave your own path. Basically, he can do whatever he wants.
So quickly getting back to Styles versus Nakamura, this went about 14 minutes. Lot of exchanges early on. At one point, Styles locked in the calf crusher, but Nakamura made the ropes. Nakamura got two near falls even after hitting a sliding knee and a landslide. So um, I love this spot where Nakamura had Styles in a triangle hold. Styles countered it and hit the modified version Style Clash, which got a
Hmm.
near fall.
Wow. Yeah, that was great.
So
I agree.
final parts of the match saw Styles on the apron while Nakamura was charging towards him. Styles blocked it and hit the phenomenal forearm and advanced to the semifinals. Great match, at least for SmackDown standard. What do you think?
Hmm. I agree. I agree. It was a great match. And if you were thinking in your mind that it would be a very pay-per-view level or very high-worthy match, high-quality match, it would not have been, because there was no crowd, first of all, and the eyeballs also. That is also giving to a point that maybe in the future you save that for the future, for a bigger, a bigger bout, a bigger story. When you have a story, when you have everything, then you give a A+ performance. Now you save it. You give. a great performance. AJ Styles, Nakamura, they are one of the best in the business. They give their best, but they also know you have to save it. You have to save it for a future bout. And AJ Styles is officially now traded for SmackDown, and Nakamura is a former Intercontinental Champion. In this match, it was a villain versus villain dynamic, in my opinion. AJ
Yes.
Styles Nakamura's story, it dates back to New Japan Pro Wrestling, and AJ Styles is, in my opinion, most probably traded to SmackDown to elevate and establish new stars. And SmackDown is getting momentum and they are getting higher ratings than Monday Night Raw. So they are building momentum towards it. And Braun Strowman, in my opinion, doesn't have, I guess, many credible opponents on the roster. So it might also add into that. And SmackDown now is on Fox, is a sports oriented show, and it wants to also, as I said, continue in the momentum of increased ratings, and now most probably would be the A show. Raw is heavily storyline oriented, and here I saw that wrestling is the most uh, heavily oriented here on SmackDown Live. AJ Styles won with a phenomenal forearm by a pinfall, and now in round two next week we will have AJ Styles versus Elias.
Yes. So another, so who do you think Raw trades in return for AJ Styles? In my mind, it would be great if they get someone like Cesaro or Shinsuke Nakamura.
Mm, uh, may I yes, it would be. Uh, Cesaro can be a good pick, and Paul Heyman can finally work with Cesaro. Finally, and but with regards to the style of the show, Nakamura and Cesaro are in the better place, in my opinion, because SmackDown is a sports oriented show, and both the people, Nakamura and Cesaro, are also the sports oriented, and wrestling is their main, you can say, their main MO with regards to being a star and showing the audience. Storytelling would is not probably till yet we have not seen that their biggest thing, but if they are traded to Raw, if it is taken out of them by Paul Heyman, so I don't know. Any new opportunity is great. You should do that. But right now, they are on SmackDown. It is a sports oriented show. And if they are given an opportunity, it would be good. They should
So
give an opportunity to them, basically.
yeah.
The only thing they need is TV time. The only thing they need is a credible storyline. That's the main thing. Now, if you trade them to Raw or SmackDown or anywhere else, it is on you. But basically, wherever you trade them, you need a proper storyline, you need a proper vision with regards to their character. That's it. Just taking them with regards to only say it on screen from the commentators that AJ went to SmackDown, that's why we have this and this on Raw. It doesn't serve you in the long run.
Yeah, right, right. So why I mentioned Nakamura was I think he could do better with someone like Paul Heyman. So
Mm-hmm. Okay.
moving on, backstage Bayley and Sasha Banks were having a conversation. Bailey said to Sasha not to be out there for a match with Charlotte. Bailey leaves while Sasha gave her a dead stare.
Hmm.
We get we get Bailey versus Charlotte Flair. This went about 15 minutes. A okay match. Bailey wins with a surprise roll up, and that was it. At least Charlotte didn't win. What do you think about it?
At least Charlotte didn't win. In my opinion, this match for me was good. Was good. It was great, as it Charlotte first started the match with the attack, and she was also attacking with the real life trash talk. That why was Bailey not called up with the other three in the initial call up on Monday Night Raw, saying that Bailey was not ready. One thing happened in this match. There was there was a 9 count when the commercial break happened, and Bailey was nowhere to be seen. She was dumped on the other side of the barricade by Charlotte Flair. It seems that nobody gives a fuck about the 9 count that the referee is doing. It was up till 9 when immediately the commercial break was, called. It was up till 9 and she was nowhere. I thought that we would come back from the break and the match would be over, because some time ago I had also read a report that a referee would count to 10 or the traditional 3 count pinfall, regardless if the wrestler does or doesn't answer the count. I don't know what the fuck happened here. Maybe the report was just bullshit, because it was all over the quote unquote dirt sheets or news things, that whatever happened. But moving on from that, this match was great. It was nice to see that these wrestlers were wrestling, and there was also trash talking, sledging, and this is basically the art of wrestling, the storytelling. It was being done to perfection. And in the last podcast, when we talked about Charlotte Flair, when I said to you that Charlotte was being used for elevating talent, for pushing storylines, what happened today was exactly that. They elevated Bayley by getting Bayley in a great match, and then Bayley got the pinfall with using the ropes with a roll up, and also putting more spice in the storyline of Sasha Banks and Bayley. So it is going to fruition with regards to using Charlotte Flair on all the shows, in my opinion, and it also happened in front of our very eyes. Nobody can say
Uh,
that Charlotte Flair being used on SmackDown was a bad thing. This match was great, and she being used for the story also, with regards to a future Sasha Banks versus Bayley match, was also being done in a good way. Now Bayley is being skeptical and giving in to Charlotte Flair's narrative that she cannot win on her own in the initial part, and not calling Sasha to ringside. It also adds fuel to their story.
so backstage, Bailey and Sasha were celebrating. There also came a moment where both women were going to have an argument, but nothing happened. So WWE, like you said, are slowly milking this feud.
Yes, and we before the Charlotte and Bayley match, there was also a video package regarding Monday Night Raw that there is a three-way match between Nia Jax, Natalia, and Charlotte, and the winner would be facing Asuka, the Raw Women's Champion for WWE Backlash. And most probably Nia would be winning that match, in my opinion.
Does Charlotte even needs to be in that match?
No, but she is being used on Monday Night Raw to push the story with Liv Morgan and have a quality wrestling match in a three-way match. You have Natalia, who is a veteran. You have Nia Jax, who is an unsafe worker or is a. I always use that moniker because every it pops the smarts across the globe. And third is Charlotte Flair. You will hate Charlotte Flair to that. You will see that match. It would be quality. And the winner is getting an opportunity to face Asuka. So it is great. Natalia is involved in a feud with Shayna Baszler. Charlotte is with Liv Morgan and Nia is with Asuka. So everything is at stake in this match. Every element is there in this triple threat match. So it is good.
So that was Raw. Back to SmackDown. We had a mixed tag team match. Sonya Deville and Dolph Ziggler versus Otis and Mandy Rose. Mandy Rose was wearing a denim-inspired gear.
She
So,
was looking like broken Matt Hardy.
yeah, Sonya Deville. Oh, great. So Dolph and Otis started the match where Otis was on a roll. Tag was made to the girls, and we had a cat fight between Rose and Deville. While Ziggler took out Otis, final parts of the match saw Rose and Deville legal in the match, while Otis and Ziggler were still fighting outside. Deville hit a knee strike on Rose. Otis tried to make the save, but Ziggler didn't allow. Deville and Ziggler got the win, furthering the feud, and that was it.
Mhm. Now, I am, first of all, I got to know the fact that the hacker was also involved in this feud,
Yep.
that he exposed, I guess, Ziggler or Sonya's plan, which would have led to Ziggler and Mandy Rose being together. What happened there? I just want to know, basically.
So, like you said, the hacker, Mandiros got to know from this hacker that Sonia Deville was like betraying her,
Mm-hmm.
backstabbing her. So
Acha. Okay.
from that we got to WrestleMania and blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm. So now still this feud is being extended like a rubber band, basically. So
Yeah.
what is happening? Is there something being added to here in this storyline? Because you would be the expert here because what is being added here is has something changed. Now at WrestleMania, I saw WrestleMania that Otis won, and basically he and Mandy Rose shared a great moment, and now a mixed tag is happening. Sonya Deville is getting on her own, and she is cutting promos, and she is getting on with Mandy Rose. And wo- did something happen here? Because here I only saw that Sonya Deville pinned Mandy Rose with the Shining Wizard clean. Basically, this is what happened, and Otis lost. He has a briefcase. He is Mr. Money in the Bank, but he, in a way, he lost in this match. So is something being added upon that? Were they on a winning streak and now they just lost a match? This is what happened. What is happening?
So I talked about Otis in this week's Slam Up Wrestling podcast, episode number 4. You can check that out. So back to your point. So I think there is another element of the storyline where we could see maybe excuse me, maybe Tucker or Mandy Rose to which to cost Otis the Money in the Bank briefcase or the cash in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. It can happen. Tucker is where has there been an backstage update? Is he injured or is he not opting to work with regards to the environment, or they have nothing for him? What is the regard? What is the story with regards to Tucker Knight?
The only thing I have heard that you can see that Otis is getting a singles push. In
Hmm.
a way, somewhat heavy machinery is no more a thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not official, but you can say that.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing else on Tucker Knight.
Okay. So basically, okay. So Tucker Knight is just sitting at catering and he is waiting for an opportunity.
Yes,
Okay. While Otis is enjoying with his briefcase and with his speech,
yes.
Mandy Rose. Okay. Okay. So much for friendship, you know.
So we get to Jeff Hardy, who is in the back cutting a promo. He talks about his comeback. He puts over the Intercontinental Championship, saying it was the first single title he ever won, and he would love to win it back again. Um, Anything you want to say about this?
Mm, it is basically a textbook babyface promo, and that he wants another chance and many things. Then in commentary I saw that what is basically the storyline with regards to this uh, match, if there is. And then I got to know that Sheamus called out Jeff for dropping the ball on all his opportunities. He brought up his drug charges, his felonies, his releases. Then Jeff asking in this uh, the asking the fans for a second chance or a last chance, basically, to stick with him for his journey. And then Jeff Hardy said to Sheamus that he is also not in a good place with respect to dropping the opportunities too. That Sheamus has also come out of a career-threatening injury, which was assumed by many that Sheamus's career is over. So there's that. In my opinion, with regards to the creative aspect of the story, only regards to Sheamus shaming Jeff Hardy, it is very easy and it is not very creative, because saying to Jeff Hardy with regards to drug charges and with regards to him being released, it has been used by wrestlers throughout. It was used by CM Punk in 2008 2009 with the Straight Edge Society. Then it was used recently by Samoa Joe. So, is there not anything else, or maybe it is just what Jeff Hardy is being associated with? So that's why we are every legit guy, if he feuds with Jeff Hardy, he will bring up that. Is that what it is? Because you have nothing else with regards to making a story. Is that what it is?
I think
Because
it.
yes,
Uh,
yes.
Sorry to cut you off, but I think it doesn't matter actually, seeing the current circumstances we are in. This empty arena shows.
It doesn't matter in my opinion, then it doesn't matter overall.
Yeah.
So then you just have to just throw two guys and go and just wrestle. Because if you are a multi-million dollar company, so you should, and you have a trillion, a a dozen writers to write creative. You have a creative team, quote unquote. So you should come up with something creative with regards to stories. Even if now the environment is as such, why can't something happen with regards to some accident happens backstage, or some altercation happens backstage, something happens. Why are you succumbing to the same thing every other month? Because it just happened because he is just back from a rehab or something like that, because it is just current news and it is real. So because he came from a relapse one, two, three times, so you will use the same thing one, two, three, four times. Is that what it is? Because it looks real. But at the end of the day, a day will come when you will have to come up with something creative with regards to storytelling, with regards to Jeff Hardy. You will not have to go again and again with regards to being drug charges, releases, dropping the opportunities, etc., etc. It was done in 2008, 2009 from CM Punk straight as society. He did it brilliantly. His storytelling was absolutely splendid. Nobody can touch that because he believed that in his mind. So, what are you trying to accomplish? I don't know. Come up with, or maybe if you are also, uh, I guess, trying to use this real life circumstances, then try to present it in a different way, not just having the wrestler just come to the ring and just confronting that this, it happened to you, you happened this, you are dropping the opportunity, I'm feeling sad for you. What it is, just it is simple. That's what I'm going to say. It is simple. Or maybe you are doing it simple because you think that people can digest only simple. We talked about this at length in one of our previous podcasts, so I should not go on any longer in this rant. I'm very sorry.
I think the points you mentioned should be sent to Mr. Bruce Pritchard immediately. Maybe,
Hmm.
maybe then we will get a better SmackDown.
Probably.
So next we had the Forgotten Sons. They had a promo package as well. Um, so this video package or promo package, whatever you want to say, this read viewers description only. So the three men talked about the tough times. Basically, they are saying the same stuff that they are saying since their days in NXT.
Hmm.
That was it.
So, what is their status regarding the tag team division? The last thing that I have read online, that they decimated all the other tag teams in the ring, and they are, in my opinion, or whatever I read, the biggest threat in the tag team division of SmackDown. And now we are not seeing any tag teams because it is a 2 hour show and the tournament is happening and nothing else. New champions were crowned in the new day, in my opinion, and nothing else. What is happening?
Basically, there are only four active tag teams right now. New Day, uh, Lucha House Party, Miz and Morrison,
Hmm.
and the Forgotten Sons. The Usos are out because one of the Usos is injured.
Okay.
Heavy
What?
Machinery, Heavy Machinery, you're seeing what they're doing with Otis with a singles run.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the state of the tag team division.
Okay. This you said only with regards to SmackDown or the whole WWE?
This is the SmackDown. Don't get me started on Raw.
Uh-huh. That's the. They are busy playing basketball and then throwing axes. No? I understand. I understand. And the injury with regards to the Usos, it happened at recent some pay-per-view.
Mania.
Oh, yes, Mania. I agree. The ladder match.
Yep.
Hmm. So they are out. So basically, there are four tag teams. Hmm. There was also a point which the, I guess, formerly known as Revival, the tag team, they said on Talk is Jericho that the natural tag teams which exist in WWE do not care much about them or push them really. They maybe they may push or they may put focus on tag teams which grow out of singles wrestlers, but they do not give more fucks about tag teams which have grown organically. Uh, there was that was their point basically that take for instance Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. They were both singles wrestlers. They were great in their own right, and they are given now the spotlight. But take for instance the tag team Iconics. They are not given a very good spotlight or given much opportunities. Or the tag team uh, Bayley and Sasha Banks, which also uh, I would say it was a single tag team, but it became organic because of their real life friendship. It was also not very much the focus because they wanted the focus. They wanted to make the championship legit and relevant, but it wasn't to be. It wasn't to be. Tag teams or tag team divisions in the world of the revival, formerly known as, it is basically WWE doesn't care much about it really, and that was one of the main things which AEW picked up and said out loud that we will make you care about tag team wrestling. We will make it our mission that tag team matches and tag team uh, championship would be the main focus, and tag team matches would also someday make for main events of shows. So that also proves the point that why tag teams are not there on WWE programming. It is a sad thing because tag team wrestling is a great art. It is fun to see it, but it is sad on WWE program.
So we get to the main event. Another Intercontinental Championship tournament match. Sheamus versus Jeff Hardy. Sheamus dominated the entirety of this match until Jeff Hardy got a roll up to win and advanced to the semifinals. So Jeff Hardy is definitely one of the top favorites to win this entire tournament. What do you think about Sheamus losing here? Does this mean the momentum he picked up it's gone now?
Mm, I was, as I said at the top of the show, I was not, following very extensively the SmackDown or Raw. So basically, I cannot say much. Sheamus has also returned recently, and he is building momentum. And now with the loss and with the end of the show, I would rather think that maybe the tension between Jeff Hardy and Sheamus has not ended yet. They would collide one on one soon enough, in my opinion. And as you said that Sheamus also dominated, as you said, in this match, and he is he fights or he wrestles in an hard hitting European style, while Jeff Hardy is basically an artist. He works in rather storytelling and aerial arsenal. He has an aerial arsenal. And Jeff Hardy, we also got to know he is a former champion, a former Intercontinental champion, and he wants to win the championship once more, as you reiterated in the initial promo which happened before the match. And Sheamus has not won the Intercontinental Championship even once. And in the promo package, Sheamus was calling Jeff Hardy a junkie scumbag.
Yep.
That was also a little unnerving to hear, but it's good. It's good because it adds to the realism and it adds to the storytelling. And in the end, Jeff Hardy countered the bro kick for a roll up for a pinfall victory with one arm. And now for next week, for round two of the Intercontinental Championship tournament, we have Jeff Hardy versus Daniel Bryan, and we have Elias versus the phenomenal AJ Styles. That's we have for next week for WWE SmackDown.
So I think it's gonna be mainly Jeff Hardy and Styles for the finals.
They want to also work together. There was some interview in the past, and it would be great to see Jeff Hardy, a legend, versus AJ Styles. With we all recently AJ Styles working with the Undertaker in a great match, in a phenomenal match. So it would be great to see that what AJ Styles brings out of Jeff Hardy. It would be great. Looking forward if that happens in the finals. And most probably, as you are saying, it would.
So that was SmackDown.
Yes, that was SmackDown.
So this episode was decent
Mm-hmm.
even for a show like SmackDown, which has been like I mentioned before, a horror movie every week.
I am also reading on social media, and I would moreover agree that SmackDown is now the better show if you compare it with Monday Night Raw. And
Uh, Not actually because mainly it's Raw that is a better show nowadays.
mhm, is that so?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that I read online, because it might be the reason for some people, because they like wrestling, not so much with regards to storytelling or storylines, or maybe their favorite wrestlers are on SmackDown. So that could be the reason why they are saying that SmackDown is better. And now SmackDown is also getting better ratings in the United States. And now Raw is sinking now to the levels of AEW Dynamite. If they do not work to better the show, it might be huge trouble. It is now also huge trouble for Monday
So,
Night Raw.
so before we go, where can these guys find you?
Uh, Guys, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Abbymaniac, ABBYMANIAC, and you can watch the latest episodes of Wrestle Square War at youtube.com/Wrestle Square. I am Abhishekh Aneja, commentator and on-screen general manager for the pro wrestling promotion Wrestle Square.
So you guys can find Slam Up Wrestling on Twitter at SlamUpW, Instagram at Slam Up Wrestling. Our podcast and reviews are mainly audio based, and if you don't want your YouTube app running for that, then you can catch Slam Up Wrestling on Anchor and Spotify as well. This was this Friday Night SmackDown review, and we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.